in life which is giving me total satisfaction. I have everything. Still why I am feeling empty, or sometimes that feeling of being low or not enough kind of feeling, despite having everything, whatever world can give. I just let you know the purpose of this session. The only simple purpose is, see, this yoga, whatever things you have heard regarding meditation, in this country these are all spiritual paths. Spiritual paths. Depending on the person, there are 10 to 15 spiritual paths. You see? So why we take the spiritual path? Once we move out into the world and start living, after some time we can easily understand that or see that there is nothing in life which is giving me total satisfaction. I have everything. Still why I am feeling empty, or sometimes that feeling of being low or not enough kind of feeling, despite having everything, whatever world can give. You are having a good place to live, food and the comfort of life. What else is then? Why I am not feeling totally satisfied? Now some people, they say okay, there is no such thing as total satisfaction. Life means ups and downs. But when the down comes, do we want it? No. So the purpose of spiritual path is to completely end the suffering, not only of today, even for example, a time will come with this body will degrade, will get old, or something or other will happen which will be against us. So the end of suffering is the prime purpose, because from the suffering comes the urge to transcend the suffering. Suffering itself implies that we do not want it. We can forget the suffering by having some drink or any smoke or anything, but eventually it can catch us in future course of events. So the only permanent way to end suffering is to know the nature of this life, what it is. So you might have heard the name of Buddha. Buddha was a son of a king, and he left everything just in the search of truth, because the whole kingdom was unable to satisfy him. So after some 12 years of meditation and search, consider this thing, in the 12 years he searched, understand this thing, he was not having the thing from day one. So the search started. When all the comforts of life was of no meaning to him, the search within the Buddha's mind started, and it took him 12 years. And why 12 years? Because he went to many of the masters that were there at that time, but none could satisfy his inner curiosity regarding the life. So at the end he simply sat and he gave up everything. I don't want anything. And that day he got to know the truth. But these examples have make believe the mind of students that the outcome of the spiritual path, or the spiritual path itself, should be so hard that we have to go in the search like Buddha, go through that struggle, and that's why we never think it's okay. If that comes on its own, it's okay. Otherwise, we won't go for that much struggle. Yes. In that time, we can earn more money. Why struggle like Buddha? See, the Buddha's struggle was that because there were no masters. That was his struggle. There was no person who could guide him. And there could be times when there could be no masters, and you cannot recognize masters. You have no criteria, and there can be fake ones too. This is the biggest problem in this area, that there are fake ones too, and there are many fake ones. This is the problem. Otherwise, this is a pure science.
99%
It is pure science, like how you study engineering. It is inner science, the subjective science. But because the incompetent people are delivering it, handling it, it has made these things bad in name. Otherwise, it is the pure science. And what is the outcome of this science? The end of suffering. Second thing is the mastery over your own mind. You can guide your hand to move like this, but you cannot say to your mind, stop, I don't want your thoughts. And sometimes the emotions also drive us like crazy. We are even worse than animals sometimes. So if I consider my life to be a combination of these four things, first is body, then mind, some emotions, and some energy. Just for the name's sake, we do not know, but let's consider there is some potential which can move the things. So when any of these four things, if we suffer in body, we do not want it. But by this experience till date, that suffering can come anytime in the body. Anytime. And the mind, it can go crazy wherever it is. Mind. And third thing are emotions, when we cry or when we feel happy to dance and everything. And then energy wise also, sometimes we feel very high and sometimes we feel low. So is even the mastery possible in my life? When these four elements, how many of the things are behaving according to you? How many? You were not even born by your own choice. You have suddenly wake up, opened your eyes and saw this whole damn thing in which you are like stuck into, and there is no way to go, where to go. If you are fed up with this world, where to go?
There is this thing written about, but we don't really know what it means. No one has experienced this.
No one has experienced this. So
This
this is just a little background which I wanted to share. Okay. Now if let's say there are 10 spiritual paths. So one thing is, there are fastest spiritual paths. Then we decrease the level depending on the potential of the student. It's like the best one goes into the best area. Even in the military, the commando type people, the special forces, they have different equipments and all. So like this, there are fastest spiritual paths, which is like pure knowledge. We'll just speak the knowledge, and if you are ready, you can just understand it and digest it right here, right now. Right here, right now. No need of this meditation and shit. But if you have not understood that path, then we decrease the level and give other paths. That is where all these tools, meditation and all these comes. So see, the truth, the criteria for truth is very simple. Very, very simple. Just I'll give you 2-3 criterias and you can test them. It's like the laws, whatever. Laws of the science is also there. Na? So similarly, there are criteria for truth. In this country, we always say what we will call is truth, which is not dependent on time. Time should not change
the answer.
the answer.
Yes.
Anything I will find in my life should not be dependent on time. Because if this bottle is here today, next moment I throw it away. It was there with me and now it is not there. So I cannot rely on this bottle whole my life.
Yes.
Even if I put security, I will purchase 4 more bottles, but all of them can be destroyed.
Yes.
Time can destroy them.
With people.
So now check your life and tell me anything which you think is permanent or which is not dependent on time. Because only on that thing we can rely 100%. That will be with us always. This house, if I invest my 10 years in this life, to build this house, we know it is going to go.
Yes.
Even if I build a palace from stones, we have seen 1,000-year-old palaces, they are already, roofs are falling. In my lifetime, they could be stable, but we cannot rely on them. So the truth which we called of life, that's why we call it as timeless truth, which is not dependent on time. And that is what we call as treasure of life, because it will be always with me. So now check from the experience of your life that do you have anything which does not change?
So that's the problem. People.
Ourselves,
Hmm?
but we are dead in the soul.
So the things which are not dependent on time,
Which are not changing.
which are not changing, they have two purposes. The first purpose is that because it will not change, we can trust on it. And second thing is, if I take this wood and if I grind it more, I can change the shape of this wood.
Yes.
But the material will always be wood. So if you can take the example of clay and the pot, the clay is the material and the pot is the shape of that thing. So I can again crush the pot and make some other pot from that clay. So this clay is the material and pot is the shape.
But you can burn the material. And
Yes, we can bend the material, but the material will remain same. That material we call is what is the essence of this column is wood.
But wood doesn't stay the same if you burn it.
Yes,
Disappear.
yes, of course.
Became
That is why, because
ashes.
I am just taking it as an example.
Okay.
It is just an example what I am taking, that the material of this thing is wood.
Yes.
Because the material won't change even if we change it. So whatever thing we will find as timeless, which is not changing with time, that thing will obviously be the material of life also. Because this whole body is changing, mind is changing, and every other thing is changing. We know from childhood till date everything is changing. But there is nothing in this life we know which we can call is as the material of life, because the material should not change. And why it is important? Because every bit of my life is made of that.
So what is the material of life?
Now first we will search within our life that what is that material from which this thing is made and why it is important. See, I know this is made of water, 70% this is water. Now see the magic of life. This water is not me, not you, है ना? This is not even Ajay, but if I drink it, it becomes me. How it is possible? If this body is 70% water, we know by science we know this is 70% water. If I drink it, will it become me?
Still it won't change the composition.
See, the problem is why we are saying, and if we ask what is the material of this thing, we will say H2O.
Yes.
है ना?
Hydrogen,
two
oxygen.
hydrogen molecules, one oxygen. If we still ask them what are they made of, there are other further classification,
Then comes the energy
electrons,
and everything.
protons and everything. You can still ask more questions, but the material still is not in the grip. What exactly is the thing it is made of? We can use it, we can experiment it. So this body is 70% water. If I cannot find the material to this, I cannot even find the material to this also right now. And see, whatever we are talking, there is one fundamental thing is the center point of this thing is the human experience. That's why do not confuse it. See, whatever we try to know, even in science or whatever, we form the models. First we observe the thing, then we make the models out of them, then we predict the model. And if the consequences of that model is in regard to what we have observed, then we say this is the law. We predict a law. Okay, if I open this, if I open it, it will go downward. That is the gravity. So similarly, this water, if I try to know my life, if I try to understand this life, so does it mean I have to understand water? Can any of us say that it is me in this bottle? No. Any sane person would not say. But it is obviously me. The omelette he cooked for you became you after digestion and this thing. This is the building block of this material. So this understanding nature of this life is why very important. If you do not understand what this life is, the more you know, the more it will be in your control. The more we know. Now I'll give you criteria and let us check one by one. The first criteria is, if it changes, it cannot be me. Just check it. If it changes, it cannot be me. Why? Do we want ourselves to change? Whatever I am calling as me, at least that should not change. The body may change, the mind may change, but if there is some truth in my existence that I am existing, it should not change.
No.
So that's why the first criteria is, if it changes, it cannot be me.
Like in your childhood, there was still Ajay who knows that childhood and this time. And there is still that Ajay who remembers that childhood. So that is common, which was there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this criteria, if you have any questions on this criteria, it is very important. Because to know anything, first we set up the criteria. And this is the strictest criteria that is possible, that if it changes, it cannot be me.
So me is the big truth.
Yes, we will check this. And second thing is, if I can experience it, it cannot be me, because all the experience change. All experience change or no? All experience. By the time they
Sitting there
change.
is an experience. Sitting there was an experience, but it went, it will also go. Eating is also an experience. It comes and it goes. But that one who is eating, who is looking, that is same.
So there are these criteria. First thing is, if it change, it cannot be me. Because if I consider myself as this water, and if it changes, that obviously things have changed. No? What I want to find a thing which is permanent. Because whatever I lay my hands on, it changes. Sometimes beautiful things come and they slip away. Bad things comes and they slip away. But what is the thing in life that is not changing? And same criteria is with the experience. If the experience change, it is not me. So just by applying these two criterias, we can check anything. And we will land upon, now let us start with the outside world which you know. Other than this body, let's look at this world. This whole world is changing?
Yes.
Maybe it is changing slow. Mountains are slowly changing by some centimeters in a year, but they change. So if it change, it cannot be me. First thing.
Yes.
So can you find anything in this, other than this body, can you find anything which is not changing? Can you think of anything?
The ocean.
Ocean, it is also changing.
Yes.
Hmm?
Hmm.
Just check if elements are changing or not.
Rock.
Hmm?
A rock.
What? How?
Rock, like stone.
It is also
Rock.
changing slow.
Rock.
The erosion is taking place.
We are not just there to see
We are
that.
just not there to see the change.
Even the sun and the moon, the planets,
changing.
they are also changing. But
The
we are
rate of
not.
change is very slow, but they are changing.
So everything is changing.
Yes, in this existence, everything is changing.
Except us.
Except us. We will see what we are calling as us. Okay?
Yes.
Now come to this
Because the
body.
body is changing.
Now come to this body. We put the material, it goes out, and everything is changing. From this much child to young age, then old, it will go. So is there anything in this body which is not changing?
No, everything is
So,
changing.